Zelly Tails is easily the best reskin mod I've yet covered. I've got no jokes or things I need to clarify from the prior episodes, so let's just get straight into this. Zelly Tails is a fairly simple moveset, consisting of a remodeled flight system, a slam, and the ability to recall. In fact, he has no grounded abilities at all, considering all his abilities take place in midair, which I feel is a bit of a slight oversight. Luckily, his abilities in air are actually fairly good. The flight system is actually reworked, rather than being a straight rip from the original Tails. Now, rather than tapping the jump button to continue your flight, you hold it, with the spin button being used to allow you to cancel. This is a straight improvement over the original, at least in my opinion. Zelly Tails ascends much faster than Vanilla Tails, especially in water where it becomes almost disconcerting how fast he travels. There's also seemingly now an upwards curve with how fast you travel while flying, making it feel more natural, and the ability to instantly cancel is much more fluid than waiting to fall back to the ground. The second main ability Zelly has is a slam, an extremely fast downwards drop which almost always transitions you into Zelly's gimmick state, which we'll cover in a sec. There really isn't much to say about this ability beyond it essentially being a quick transition into this gimmick state, but it's fine in that role so it can pretty happily stay. I'm not really going to discuss the recoil beyond saying it's basically an exact version of the ability that old Sonic and Dummy has, and again it's basically just a quick way to transition into the aforementioned gimmick state directly from springs. I've mentioned it enough times, let's discuss this gimmick state. As you almost certainly guess from the name of the mod, Zelly Tails is quite bouncy, and this quirk manifests itself in the form of a gimmick state. When Zelly Tails is in a ball state and is travelling fast enough / has fallen far enough, I'm still unsure about what specifically begins this state, they can start bouncing off walls, enemies, monitors, ceilings and floors like a pinball. This is great. When it comes to level optimization and speedrunning techniques, this will almost certainly be a hindrance more often than it will be a boon, but for pure dumb fun, you ain't beating this. There really isn't anything wrong about the ability, but I can think of 2 or 3 things that could improve it, albeit mostly for speedrunners. 1, it's not necessarily tied to the state specifically, but make the slam grand spring boosting. Joy feels slightly off when a character has some form of ground pound but can't spring boost using it. 2, replace the recoil with some form of harden ability. I never used the recoil personally, and considering Zelly can't use sealed abilities anyway, having some form of harden ability that stops you from bouncing could be quite useful, if, for some god forbidden reason you decided to try speedrunning using this character. Having some way to stop bouncing off the walls of a tiny room without flying could be quite useful. 3, give some form of indicator for when you have entered the bounce state. I think Zelly starts extending once they've reached that threshold, but that isn't particularly obvious when running at a high speed. If you cast your mind back to the Windows re-review, or if you click the link at the top of the screen now, you may remember the icons in the corner of the screen which indicated when you could use certain abilities, and I feel this character would benefit from one of those. There are some other comparatively minor things to mention. Zelly Tails appears to cherry-pick some of the functions from cross momentum, such as high performance and the whole run on water thing. I've literally just covered cross momentum, so go watch that video if you want some clarification on what this entails, but these are ultimately fairly minor additions. Obviously, Zelly Tails sprites are recolors of Vanilla Tails, but considering he also has distortion physics while flying or bouncing, this obviously wasn't just laziness on behalf of Sebo2205, so I won't dock too many points for this. Zelly Tails will probably be discounted by a fair few people, both due to his outwardly simplistic moveset and his recolor status, but this is still a solid mod. His gimmick form is just dumb fun, and he does have a few solid ideas which could very easily be retrofitted to Vanilla Tails. There are a few ways I can see improvements being made to the mod, stopping it from reaching above an 8 out of 10, but I'd still recommend at least trying it out. I'm going to be taking a relatively long break from releasing videos until probably the end of the month, mostly because of a lot of tests I need to spend time revising for all coming up at once. I'll probably be writing some scripts for longer videos, like a few reviews, some non-gameplay based commentary videos, and the Promise/Fabled Remedyverse video, but it's fairly unlikely I'll be doing any editing of any videos, and I definitely won't be releasing any videos. This is mostly just here to say that the break isn't because I've given up on releasing videos, and I definitely haven't died or anything severe like that. I hate saying stuff like this, because I always feel it breaks up the flow of video and is usually unnecessary, but to hopefully stave off my channel dying during this break, consider subscribing, liking the video, following my Twitter, and or just joining the Discord server. The number of people on that server directly correlates to an increase in the chance of me making an SRB2 kart video, but it still needs a few more members before I think I'll be able to realistically set up a timetable for a successful tournament, or something along those lines. Enjoy the rest of this footage, and ciao.